Hey everyone, and I'm so excited. Today's video is just going to be me talking about my first ever comedy showcase, what it felt like, and a huge shout out to Zach and to Tiffany for making the drive to come see the show. It was really great to meet you guys in person, so thank you so much for being there. Absolute blast. Probably stayed out a little too late, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, it just meant a lot to me. And by the way, like for those of you who are generally curious about the shows, I'll be sure to kind of include that more into a bigger heads up from now, being that I'm actually being invited to do actual shows over the typical workshop, stand-up, open mic nights, where I'm going to try and refine and work on the jokes, etc. So it was actually really kind of fun to take what I felt was perhaps some of my best material, perhaps it obviously continues to need to be worked and refined, and it really meant a lot. And then obviously we had a couple others that came out last night as well, so thank you guys for all those who made it. It was really quite exciting. But yes, I will do a better job at communicating dates for when you might be able to check out any of the show. Now, I keep asking about being recorded, and I know that's the advice. We're not there yet. I think we'll kind of explore that, because if I do ever, which I'm not actually like trying to blow up as a comedian, honestly, like a part of me finds this to be incredibly, in a way, therapeutic, incredibly fun. I love the aspect that it's just something that is who I am and what I do, as opposed to like, you know, trying to make money off of it. That's not my goal. It's just something I really absolutely just find that it's so me. You know, I think one of the things I've said is like, it feels like I get to take off my mask and just be goofy and silly and tell crazy stories and hopefully try to make it funny. Regardless, I really would like for people to start actually being able to see the performance, and it ends up being, I think, stronger obviously in a comedy setting as opposed to the internet. There's be a weird transition, right? Like in terms of like, imagine if you're like, oh, I'm really interested in Brian's guides or this video game news, and then all of a sudden he's talking about like his kids and this, and like I'm confused, right? Well, welcome to Ginger Prime. It's it's all just whatever I feel like here. If you guys want more of that focused video game news information, be sure to check out my sub channels, which are really just kind of honing in on one game specifically, and that's actually doing really well. And speaking of which, my New World channel just crossed over 2,000 subs, so thank you guys for that. But I digress. I want to talk about the experience, kind of my preparation for it. I want to talk to you guys about you know, obviously how I felt, what I was going into, and this is going to be kind of also in a way more revealing about who I am as a person and some of the things I personally struggle with. I don't know if anybody's going to identify with what I'm going to share here today, but it's something that has always been like weirdly unique, at least from my experience, but maybe by sharing it, it'll turn out like everybody goes through this. And I've always just kind of thought I was just weird for the sake of weird, but let's talk about it. So obviously I got invited, and I was one of like 5 comedians invited. They ended up adding more to the showcase, which is great. And then after the showcase, they added as an open mic night. It was at Tees Bar and Grill in Lewisville, Texas. And I've never been to Tees, and that's kind of a big part of the story, but I really enjoyed the venue. I think the only thing I struggled with was that it felt like it was a little bit louder in terms of the mics, but it felt like a really cool bar. I was able to get there a little bit early, sat around, just drank some water. I was, you know, nervous, you know, as you are. I like kind of that nervousness though. People are like, oh, you don't look nervous. I was like, yeah, but inside, like, it's just like this nervous energy that's just like building up and boiling up and getting like it. I don't know. There's something I enjoy about that. Like I enjoy feeling that sense of, you know, like, oh gosh, like, am I really about to do this, etc. And I still even feel that a little bit, even with the open mics. But a part of that is overcoming that. A part of the process, I think, is actually like making sure that, okay, despite that, continue to move forward, right? Despite any kind of, you know, pushback, even on just an internal, you know, just keep moving forward, keep moving, you know, in a way. But, you know, feeling that, just kind of sitting back and actually getting to talk with some of the other comedians who I've actually worked with a couple in the open mic, and I got to meet a couple that I haven't seen it and seen perform yet. And so it was a really good, I think it was a really good show. It turned out obviously like it's going to vary. It wasn't like the massive crowd, but who knows, maybe that will change with time. So I'll let you guys know if I'm going to be back there in the future. But I got open. I was like, they had the host, and so then I was the guy who was able to kick it off, because they considered me the youngest comedian there, even though like not in terms of age, but in terms of like doing stand-up comedy. And so I got to be the first, which actually like helped out a lot, because then I'm not sitting here like, okay, like, oh, I'm up in 3. I'm not sitting here in my head. I actually got to like go and perform and tell my jokes, and then legitimately was like, okay, now I'm just going to enjoy the show. So I've got to hang out with Zach and Tiffany, and they were just great. Like it was really great to sit down and talk about like video games and comedy and just kind of hang out, and it was really enjoyable. So again, thanks to them for making it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show as well. They said they did, so I'm gonna go off of that. I'm gonna go off their word in this regard. But I got up on stage. It was interesting because I could barely see like anything out there, and then this is actually kind of took me back to my old theater days back in college, where it's like I can never really see the audience, like how it ends up being lit. Now, like I could see that there were people out there, but it was definitely clear from being on stage and off stage. It's like there's this weird wall. So I just got up there and I told my jokes. I had 10 minutes, which actually was great because I felt like I built up a lot of different material and just kind of playing in the space and really kind of having a lot of fun. Typically the open mics I get 5, occasionally I've gotten 8, and I've been just working on it, like workshopping the open mics. Really kind of working some jokes, and I had I think I had some really good ones. I think one of the things that I'd like to get to is to where I got more tags, more jokes, all within these stories. So I think there's plenty of work to do on the art form itself to really kind of just continue to move forward and tell the story. And one of the things I've found is that as I've workshopped some of these jokes, how I place them in certain positions ends up being a huge impact, because I can end up setting up a joke that needs a little bit more setup. As long as I put that joke later in the set, then I can actually kind of see that information as a part of other jokes to then eventually lead to that where it ends up killing, as opposed to like, okay, let me open with that. So that's something I found doing the open mics, like, okay, here's this joke actually performs better over here, and I should move this over there, etc. But so I got up, I did my set, and I think I did a really good job. I really felt good about it. I think I got some really good laughs. I felt real confident. I tend to feel real confident on stage. As soon as I get on the mic, that nervous energy goes away, and it's just this sense of peace about the experience and the presentation. So I really enjoyed having a lot of fun playing in that space. And then the other comedians, I think they did, like, we had some really good comedians last night. Some of the new ones that I hadn't heard before, they really cracked me up. And so there's a part of that of being able to go and kind of do this thing that I feel like I need to do, and then at the same time get to kick back and enjoy comedy and getting all these different perspectives and listening to some really good jokes, etc. So it was a lot of fun. So I posted it over on Twitter, and I posted it on like Facebook, and I posted it in Discord, and then on members I posted the playbill of where I was going to be, namely because like my posts here, I don't know why, like I feel better posting it on Twitter that where I was going to be over like on Facebook, but I mean on YouTube, because I think on YouTube my posts tend to do a little bit more. So maybe I'll if I get a little bit of heads up and do a little bit more, I'll have that method of getting you guys that information if you want to come out and see a comedy show and whatnot. So anyway, I don't know. I'm assuming I'll get invited back. My goal for it though, is I was talking with Julie, is like my plan is to keep working the open mics, and I view that as a workshop. People are like, oh, I'd like to come see you. I'm not going to stop you, but note that like that's where like I have no problem like if the joke doesn't work. It's just I'm really trying to like work on what I've written and try to find the funny. And this was kind of a fun thing where it's like I feel like I got a good set, and I think those are going to be more the things that I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Louisville, or hey, I'll be in Dallas, or hey, I'll be in Fort Worth on whatever day. And then yeah, I don't really plan to put it online. Still kind of in that boat for now, because I feel like it's something really special as a part of the club that gets missed in online. But maybe again, this is an evolving process and whatnot. But guys, that's what I wanted to talk about. I was really excited. I really appreciate all the support and the encouragement and the likes and things like that. So I'll keep you guys up to date. If you guys are still watching this video as it goes live tonight, it's Friday, so I'm gonna be streaming over on Twitch. We're gonna be hanging out, having a fun time. So if you want to come by, say hi. If you want to come hang out and voice chat and whatnot, just come hang out. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Anyway, love you guys, love you faces. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video, but until then, take care.
Yeah. It's time to chill out on the couch and read some comments. That's right. You know me when it comes to destiny. I'm off with a clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh yeah.